There you are. Can you hear me? Okay, so I don't know if you missed that part. Just at the start, I just apologized to everyone because we were going to jump on last night, but I let them know that you got a phone call from your lawyer that you clearly needed to take because of everything that's gone on. So yeah, let's get into it. Kind of just fill us in on what happened at the airport exactly.
Well, first, let's just talk about the 4 or 5 days leading up to the airport.
Yeah.
Every single day, the establishment, the evil, the globalists, our enemies that we are at war with, try to throw a monkey wrench into my ambitions to become the next mayor of Toronto. And what am I talking about? Well, it started with me first getting an email from the head of Toronto elections, Colin McLean, stating that even though my event on April 1st, which was a pre-campaign event, which was designed to help cover some of my personal expenses in the campaign, was completely legitimate, completely legal, and completely within the election rules, they threatened that they would still use it. Oh, sorry. People are going to start calling like crazy to try to stop me from going live. So I'm going to have to just put my phone.
Yeah, if we lost Chris, he'll jump right back on. Don't worry about it. Oh,
No, you didn't lose me. Sorry, guys. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because as soon as they know I go on a live on my phone, they start calling my phone like crazy to try to shut me up. Just like Elections Canada or Elections Toronto messaged me and said, even though everything I was doing was legal and within the rules, they were going to use it as a way to try to disqualify me, to open an investigation against me, to scrutinize every dollar I spent, and then to try to prosecute me and throw me in jail for 6 months. Yeah, basically trying to stop me. The very next day, I get a message from the largest law firm in Toronto, Goodman's Law, and the message is on behalf of the Conservative Party of Canada, and in particular, Pierre and Anita Poilievre, because they didn't like the expose I did on the Conservative Party and Switch Health.
If anyone wants to see that, they can find that on your Twitter, correct? It's still up on there?
Yeah, they can find it on my Twitter. It was taken down off of Instagram, but it's on my Twitter. It's on my Telegram. And it shows how basically Switch Health was created before the pandemic. It was created by people that are Conservative Party members. So we have a private company created by government employees, some of which worked in public health, who then get funding from a private citizen named Callan Romanescu, whose company got almost $1 billion of our tax dollars. And then right before he retires from that company, after funding this other company, he gives that company all the business of Air Canada, then retires from Air Canada, becomes a senior strategic advisor of Switch Health. Then when we put the message into ChatGPT, it brings up stuff from 2020 on Anita Poilievre. And if anybody searches her name in any search engine right now, everything before 2022 about her is scrubbed from the internet. Any search engine, from Google to DuckDuckGo and everything in between. But the chat AI robot can pull stuff up that was previously on the internet and then deleted. So I pulled up multiple articles, CTV News, BBC News, what was the other one? Global Newswire, Forbes magazine, and they all attest that Anita Poilievre was either a CEO or a shareholder of Switch Health. Well, I got threatened that if I didn't do a video retraction of that statement, that the Conservative Party was going to come after me, Pierre Poilievre was going to come after me with their law firms. So I called their law firm and I basically told them everything I just went over with you. And then I said, this is why I said what I said about Pierre Poilievre's wife. I'm going to send it to you. And if you can explain it to me, then by all means, I will be happy to say that I made a mistake and this is not true. And when I sent them everything, which was a video of us putting Anita Poilievre's name into the AI program, guess what? It comes up with everything I just told you about. And I haven't heard back from them since. The very next day, I was supposed to fly on Flair Airlines. I tried to book online. My name was banned from booking on their website. I could put any other name but my own, and it would work. But as soon as you put my name, it didn't. So I went to mytrip.com and Expedia.com and booked 2 separate one-way tickets on Flair Airlines under my name. When I went to the airport, Now we're getting to what happened at the airport the first time, not yesterday. When I went to the airport the first time, they tried to tell me that they couldn't verify the credit card that was used to book the reservation because it was booked through a third party, which is ridiculous because that would be the same thing for anybody who booked through a third party, which is hundreds of millions of people around the world. But for me, it created a flag and it created a situation where they couldn't honor the reservation. So I called Visa right in front of them on video and made Visa verify that it was my credit card with my name that booked the flight. They got so nervous, they put us through. They didn't even charge us for our check bag or our carry-on bag, which I thought was nice. And I said, I'm not going to post you guys because you did that. Then when we got through, we ate some lunch, and then all of a sudden we got called on the loudspeaker. So we went over to the boarding gate to see what was going on, and RCMP was lined up there, including none other than Corporal Donald Smith. That's where I met him. And so we went over to find out what was going on, and they said, sorry, we've decided that we can't honor the reservation after we'd already let you through security and put your bags on board. If you want to get on this flight, you're going to have to rebuy the ticket. So they forced us to pay for the same ticket we had already paid for, which we did. And then I told them, because you did that, I'm going to post your video that I have from before live because you deserve it. That's when Donald Smith got into my face, started yelling at me, spitting in my face, threatening me, calling back up because I threatened to post a video on my own social media that had already been taken hours before. So it was absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I filed a complaint against him when I got on the plane and made it to Vancouver. When we were flying back from Vancouver, they tried to give us the same hassle, and everybody saw I went live, and it only lasted less than 2 minutes because we had booked with Expedia, and they gave me the same runaround, and they let us on the plane. But then to fly back yesterday for the third day in a row on Flair Airlines with the exact same problem every time after a 3-hour phone call, of which I have video of, and then promising me I wouldn't have this problem again. Not only did I get this problem again, but this time they called security. This time when I asked for a manager and a conflict resolutions officer, which by law, they have to preside. By law, in any country in the world, they have to provide a conflict resolution officer or a manager to speak to you, especially if they're not letting you on the plane, especially when you have a valid prepaid reservation, including the confirmation number, especially when you called the frigging credit card company in front of them and proved that you used your credit card to book this reservation. And so then my wife was sitting down, filming me and filming the first RCMP officer that came by, but being respectful of him because he was being a nice guy. So she didn't even film him from the badge down. She filmed him from the waist down. So you couldn't see his badge number and you couldn't see his face because he was being courteous. He was genuinely interested in what was going on. And then as everybody saw on the video, Corporal Donald Smith, who I already had a complaint against, decided to make his presence known. He stood in the back, and when he realized he was being recorded by my wife, he ran over there and promptly assaulted her and took away the phone. And then without realizing that it had been screen recorded by people like you and others, the moron deleted it to try to tamper with evidence and try to delete the evidence of what he had just done, not even realizing he had literally just incriminated himself further.
People who I just wanted to say quickly, that's what people try and say who try to criticize you. They're like, oh, the video clip was only 4 or 5 seconds that I had posted originally. And I said, guys, this is why he goes on a live when he's in a situation like this. I do the same thing because we need you to screen record it. Because if we don't go on a live and we just take a video, when you get arrested and they take your phone, they'll just delete the video. So that's why he goes on a live. Continue.
Thank you, and thank you. And the live was like 30 minutes long, and thankfully we have people that recorded 30 full minutes of that live. So I have all the video for evidence. And as we know, it is not illegal to film at airports, which are public places. They lie and say that it's owned by the Edmonton Transportation Airport Security Company. Wrong. If you go right to the Canadian government website, it states explicitly that 23 airports, including YEG Airport, are all owned by the Transportation Administration Authority and leased to these other companies to run. So they are public entities, not private. Public places, not private. And as we all know, no matter what policy they put in place requiring permission to film people, any police officer can be filmed while on duty, in their uniform, if you're respecting them and you're not interfering with their duties, which my wife sitting on a chair 20 feet away, pointing the camera at me in the bottom half of one officer was not doing. And for that, what happened? She got charged with mischief for recording in an airport. And this is the best part. I got charged with mischief for being party to being recorded in an airport, whatever the hell that is even supposed to mean. So we got charged with frivolous fake charges, and then we were given lifetime bans from Edmonton Airport because this is, and then they took my phone because not only did they want the video, they wanted to be not to be on my social media. They wanted me to lose all my contacts for the election. This was 100% more election sabotage. And if people want to believe that that's a conspiracy theory, guess what just happened before we got on this live? The old mill where I had booked for the last 3 weeks and paid a big deposit just messaged me and said, "Oh, we are canceling your event. Gee, I wonder why they're canceling my event. I wonder why I'm banned on Flair Airlines. I wonder why my bank card got frozen the other day. I wonder why I'm being targeted at the airport. I wonder why Elections Toronto is threatening to throw me in jail. I wonder why the Conservative Party of Canada is messaging me and threatening me and trying to threaten me into submission and silence. It must be because I'm controlled opposition, everybody. It must be because, I'm really against all of you and I'm really here to help all of them. That's why they're making my life so very easy and so very not difficult. I have to go and drive all the way to Calgary, leave my car in Calgary to get on a plane for an even further flight to get to Toronto and an even more expensive flight to get to Toronto so I can be in Toronto. When I tried to book Airbnb in Toronto, guess what happened? A 3-month-long booking on me, who has Airbnb booked in 12 different countries in the last 6 years with 99% positive ratings and no parties, no nothing like that on my record. Trying to book a house for 90 days, I got an error that stated it was a high likelihood for a house party and we couldn't book. When I called Airbnb, they said it must be some kind of glitch. They passed me around to 3 separate entities. Finally, they said it is a glitch, but there's nothing they can do about it. They can't stop it, so you have to try to book another property. When I looked at which properties I could book, it was like 3 properties out of the hundreds that were available before, and obviously none of them were suitable. So what did I do? I went and booked the property on my wife's Airbnb using my credit card, and it went through until the very next day where I got a message from Airbnb saying they're going to have to cancel the booking because apparently this mansion that we needed to rent had squatters that weren't going to leave, so they weren't going to be able to guarantee the reservation. But they promised that the refund would be within 48 hours to make sure I would have funds available to book another reservation in time for our arrival March 24th. Well, guess what? They made sure that the money I spent already that they took won't come back until after March 24th to try to prevent me from being able to create another reservation. So guess what happened? I had to make another payment on my card so I could make another reservation. It blocked me from doing so. So I got my friend in another country to try to use my card, and surprise, on his Airbnb with my card, this man who's in his late 40s and never had a problem with anything before, his Airbnb blocked him from booking with my credit card. What a shocker. He had to book it with his own credit card. So I wasn't even able to rent a house for my campaign team because they have so much political reach that they can stop me from having events, apparently. They can stop me from renting homes, apparently. They can stop me from getting on airlines. They can ban me from airports. They can stop my bank cards from working. And they can threaten me with the most powerful law firms in the country to try to keep me quiet and try to keep me out of this election. And guys, that's just the last 5 days. That's 5 days of my life. And you guys are going to try to question my resolve and question my genuine intent on whether I'm dedicated to this cause or not. Give me a break.
Yeah, man, and it's going to be, the circus is just going to continue. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. So anybody who is on here who wants to have any involvement in this campaign, anyone who's for Canada, for Chris Sky for mayor, where can they send an email to, Chris, to get involved?
I'm going to write it down on here right now. It's not letting me comment. There we go. Chris Sky for change, FOR change @mail.com. We need at least 1,000 volunteers to make this happen. We need massive mini fundraising operations all around Ontario. Anyone from Ontario can donate to our campaign officially. So we need people in all the freedom movements and all the cities around Ontario to organize their own little mini fundraisers and then money to my team because we have expenses, both campaign and personal, that need to be paid. Because our opposition is going to work like this, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, lost your thing there.
And I was just going to go on and say, and you know, Chris didn't tell me to say this. I'm saying this from myself, that when it comes to Chris's campaign, and I just talked to you about this the other day, there's going to need to be ample amount of security and shit like that 24 hours a day. So not only are you going to have all the expenses of a normal mayor like campaign race, we're going to have funds for all of that too, because they're going to continue to try and throw shit like this your way.
Exactly. And technically, I can get funds from anybody anywhere in the world that are used for my personal expenses, which are not party to the election campaign. And personal security would be one of those things, because I never needed personal security before, but I definitely need it now. When I just spoke, and people didn't know this, but when because normally I don't have security when I go to events, but when I spoke on February 18th and I was launching officially my campaign for mayor, we had a 4-man security team that day, and 2 of those men were active duty police officers who volunteered under the auspice that their identity be kept private because they didn't want to get in trouble. The other 2 were licensed Brink security. So these gentlemen were licensed to be armed, licensed to be body armored, and they were there not just for my protection, but for protection of people around me. And guess what happened that day? No less than 6 people were found with very dangerous weapons and ejected from that event just that day. And that was just the day that I was planning on announcing. So that's why we're going to be running a special campaign where we're going to have cameras around us 24 hours a day. I'm going to basically be living with my campaign team, and no one's ever going to be alone in my campaign, because we already know that anybody that's left alone, they're going to have something bad happen to them, whether physically or otherwise. So we're ready for this. I'm ready for anything they got to throw at me. So now we need a new venue. We need somebody that's a freedom fighter, that's not afraid, that can hold about 100 people, wants to have it cater, or can cater it themselves. And we're going to still host this fundraiser on April 16th. I'm going to be hosting other events as well that people can contact me. Some are private events. So my number is 416-400-9994. Put it down, everybody. 416-400-9994. We need volunteers in multiple ways. We need volunteers that are going to be boots on the ground. We need volunteers that are ready to call phones and do polling and other things like that for us. We need volunteers that can fundraise between their groups and their known people within their cities. And we need people that simply have resources, whether it's crypto, cash, or things that can aid in our expenses for the campaign one way or the other. Because the way this is going to work, they're going to prop up 3 candidates against us. And these candidates are going to have unlimited funding. They're going to be spending about $1 million a month over 3 months. And whatever candidate gains the most traction against us, the other 2 are going to end up throwing their financial support and their actual support towards that candidate, in the hopes that them spending $3 million a month and combining the force and media attention of all 3 candidates will be equivalent to our tiny campaign. We have done the numbers. We have done the budget. We know that we need a tiny fraction of the money that they are going to be spending against us to have the equivalent reach. When with our superior message and my superior speaking and my more genuine intent, we believe we're going to get the vast majority of the votes, but we still need money. When they're going to be spending millions a month, we're still going to need $300-400 grand for this election. Easily. And that money's going to come from all over Ontario. So it's not a big deal. That's 17 million people, guys. If every one of you gave us $1, we'd have more than enough money to run 20 elections. But we don't. All we need is a few $100 grand, and they're doing everything they can to try to make sure we don't get $1, because they know that every dollar we get is going to be the equivalent of $1,000 they spent. And that gives you a preview of how their government's going to be run versus how our government's going to be run. We are all about efficiency. We are all about utilizing our resources. We are all about doing exponentially more with less. They're going to outspend. They're going to out media. They're going to out lie and do everything they can to slander, defame, slow us down, arrest me, slander me, get our events canceled, threaten me with lawyers, threaten me with arrest. Everything they can, probably even try to take me out physically and make it look like an accident. But I'm ready for that too, because I would rather be dead than wake up 10 years from now and look at kids living in slavery and know that I didn't do everything in my power to prevent it. I'd rather be dead at 40 years old than a 50-year-old man watching kids be enslaved by this globalist agenda. So I'm going to give it everything I have. If you ask I was sleeping only 3 hours a night before. Now it's like I don't sleep at all. I'm up virtually 24 hours a day, and I catch naps while people are driving me from point A to point B because, I still can't drive. I'm not going to have a license back until at least March 28th. Thankfully, I'll get it back when I get acquitted. Oh, and by the way, March 28th, I'm going to be back in court in Toronto. We're going to have the details, and it's just for my actual result finally. So they won't be delaying anymore. The judge will be giving my result. And since they don't want me in person and they told me they want me to come in on Zoom, I believe that means I'm going to get acquitted because I'm pretty sure if they were going to charge me and convict me, they'd want me in person for it. So it's going to be a good time for anybody that wants to come out there. And we're going to get more details about that.
And I mean, I know you can only say so much about that, but I've been in your court through Zoom for the entire case. And I would bet my life on you being acquitted of everything that was said. Both police officers, please don't comment because I don't want to get you in shit, but both police officers had two completely different stories, and it's all garbage. Carbone's a liar. It's there's nothing there. It's a nothing burger. And they know that, and that's why they've held this over you for so long. And I think that's why they're going to start trying to pile on new charges on you because this whole time, anyone who doesn't really know you that good, they want to make it look like you're crazy and you've made all these threats and all these wild things that are completely inaccurate. And now when you're acquitted of that, well, what else are they going to have to hang on to? So they're going to have to make up a bunch of more bullshit.
That's what they're trying to do. And they literally what they're trying to do, they know they can't stop me because they're like, this guy's not going to stop. He's literally willing to die. And we can't just outright kill him because that's going to make him even stronger. It'll make him a martyr. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to make my life a virtual quicksand all around me. They're going to infiltrate every aspect of my life. They're going to sabotage every aspect of my campaign. They're going to try to put people in my circle that are going to try to undermine me. They're going to try to put me in situations where I can get in trouble, investigated, disqualified, arrested. They're going to do every dirty trick in the book and even create new tricks that they've never tried before because they know I know all their dirty tricks in the book. And I'm literally just going to have to be living in a very, 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 very astute state, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with an entire team looking for my well-being, both physically, financially, spiritually, every which way possible. Like I'm a strong guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm a warrior. I can do a lot and I can take on a lot, but there's no way in hell I can do this alone. They have a collective army and an unlimited amount of funding against me. So I need my own army of light warriors because we need to work together. I can't do it alone. And I know I have support. I know I have plenty of support. So keep emailing to chrisguyforchange@mail.com or send me a text any way you know you can help to 416-400-9994. We're going to have spots for everybody. But the biggest thing we're going to need, because this is where they're going to try to hit us the hardest, is to try to stop our fundraising. So if we can get around Ontario 20 or 30 small independent fundraisers going that start from 2 or 3 people in each city, and they go and ask 2 or 3 people and 2 or 3 people, and we end up getting a few $1,000s from 20 or 30 sources, that will be, in our campaign, that will be imperative to getting us on the go to start generating the money we are going to need. For these other campaigns, that's a drop in the bucket. For us, a $50,000 would be a friggin', it would be a godsend and it would be a savior, not just for our campaign, but for the actual country.
Yeah.
This is where it's come down to, guys. It's come down to everybody saying they want to help, everybody saying they're going to vote, everyone saying they're going to support, everyone saying, oh, I'll do anything I can. Well, it comes down to us needing money. And it's not a lot of money from every person. It's a little bit of money from a lot of people. We expect we can get 500,000 votes. So why can't we get 100,000 people to donate a few bucks? Yeah. That's all we need, guys.
Yeah, it's very simple, buddy. And, one thing I want to say that's been special to see, there's a lot of people on here now. For anyone who hasn't noticed, guys, finally, after all this time, there's a lot of different personalities and things that have gotten involved in this movement. And you're watching everybody bridge all together finally. We all realize that tree's rotten. It needs to be chopped down at the bottom. So Chris is going at a municipal level, and that's where we're going to start. And then we're going to take the whole tree down from there, guys. So get out there, be a part of this team, be a part of this campaign. It's going to change Canadian history forever. It's going to be huge. It's going to be amazing. So just be a part of it.
Guys, I'm literally going to be the head of the spear on this. I'm going to be the number one target in the entire country, maybe even beyond our borders. But I wouldn't be doing this, A, if I didn't believe that I had a chance to win, number one. And two, if I didn't truly believe in my heart that me attaining this position will be the biggest blow we could strike against them, the biggest blow we have struck against them in the last 3 years, and the most significant turning point in this ongoing struggle and war that we faced thus far. I truly believe that in my heart. Otherwise, I wouldn't be putting my life on the line. I wouldn't be putting my family's safety on the line. I wouldn't be doing any of this. I'd be hiding on a beach in Mexico, sipping Mai Tais with a wife and probably another chick. That's what I'd be doing. I'm going to be completely honest. Unfortunately, I have this sickness in myself, and this sickness makes me do the right thing all the time. It makes me feel bad when I see people getting taken advantage of. It makes me feel bad when I see children suffering. Even people I don't like. I do not like seeing them get bullied. I do not like seeing them get taken advantage of. I do not like seeing them put in a position where they have to make decisions that are not in their own best interest. This is sickening to me. Sickening to me. So imagine how it feels for the people I actually care about. But I truly care about the city. I truly care about the inhabitants. And there's nobody else that will fight harder. There's nobody else that's more dedicated. There's nobody else that'll put in more man hours. And there's nobody else that will stand up like I will. And you see it every single day. I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk. I'm not one of these stupid politicians that tells you what you want to hear. I'm one of the people that tells you what you need to hear. And then I show you how to do it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So guys, Chris Guy, for change at mail.com. That's also an e-transfer email. You can send us e-transfers to that email right now. Anyone in Canada, because we will use it for our non-campaign expenses that are still going to help us with the campaign. And our official campaign email will be unveiled on April 4th when I become an official candidate. But for now, anybody can email Chris Guy for change at mail.com to find out how to become a volunteer or find out how to support us financially or find out how to do a fundraiser for us or call that number, or they can simply send an e-transfer to Chris Guy for change at mail.com. So we got a lot of ways for people to be able to help us, and we need your help. We need you guys to share this. We need you guys to talk to other people. It's not enough to just give your little bit. You got to talk to a couple other people, make them do it, and make them do it. If you can get 2 people and they can get 2 people and you keep that chain going, even if everybody gave us $10 each, and we ended up with 30 fundraisers, they got 10 different people each to give us $10. We'd have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get started. We have to be taken seriously by the media. We have to be taken seriously by the government. We will get into the debates. And when I can get myself into the debates, that would be like putting an MMA fighter in the cage against children and asking them to beat them up. That's what's going to happen when I get a chance to spar with these political officials verbally in an official setting. I will tear them to pieces, and they know it, and that's why they do not want me in this running. They do not want me in this race, and they definitely don't want me in a position of mayor of Toronto because I'll have the power to put a hurt on them unlike anything they've ever experienced.
Awesome. We're going to do it, and I just wanted to mention a couple people said before, Chris has got great ideas and a great voice. What if they don't let him in the building to speak at these debates? And I said, if they don't let Chris in the building, he will be out front speaking to everybody that's out there. Am I correct? They're not going to stop
100%.
Right?
If they say that we're banned from the debates, if they try to come up with the lie that we're somehow not a top tier candidate when we have the most social media presence and we have the biggest support base now because people actually know who we are and people support us, they're not just going to know us because we spent $1 million on TV advertising. Well, then we'll hold our own debate with some of the other mayoral candidates, any of the ones that have the balls to show up. And it won't be scripted. We won't have earpieces like the ones inside. And it might not be televised on CTV Global, but it'll definitely be televised all around the world via all social media platforms, including my Twitter with 180,000 almost. So I think we're going to have more people watching our debate than people watching their debate if they want to play that game, and it'll backfire just as bad.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Well, you want to wrap it up there?
What else can I say, guys? You know what we need? We need your support. We need volunteers. We need fundraisers. So if you're in the freedom movement, if you're a leader like Rob, start talking to your people, start doing word of mouth fundraisers, start collecting every few bucks you can from people. And once we pool it all together, it equals victory for us, guys. This is why we've been coming together for the last 3 years to put our power collectively behind a cause. And this is a cause that can have the greatest bang for its buck. We literally can take over the most powerful city in North America for 300 grand. Come on, guys.
Yep.
Where else can you find anything like that? I'm sorry.
Exactly. All right, we're going to wrap it up there, and I just want to say, keep tuned in on here, guys. I talked to Chris the other day. We're going to jump on every 2 weeks or something like that, and he'll keep you updated.
Even sooner, we'll jump on once a week once we start going with the campaign, because we're going to be doing weekly polls on top of that, and they're going to be very, very astute. So we're going to be doing weekly lives to talk about the weekly polls, so we can really, really, really not just follow their narrative. We can set the narrative. We can create the narrative. They're going to be reactive to us this entire time, like they have been.
So everybody, do your job, man. Get out there right now. This isn't about Chris. This is about all of us. So get out there, be a part of the team, talk to other leaders of the movement, share this out when we're done. We got to make this go viral. We got to make this shock the whole world, guys. We're going to stick a wrench right in the gears of the World Economic Forum here.
Yes, we will.